So what's driving the home builder part? Is it, you think, an urban exodus?
It's a good question. I think that the trend really was in place before COVID. And if you think about sort of the demographic wave that's coming through the pike right now, there's about 26 million millennials of prime home buying age today. That's going to accelerate to about 29 million in 2025. And at that point, it's going to that group will be about 3 million greater than the baby boomers at their peak in '87. So it's a very, very strong wave of demographic support that's coming through the pike. That in itself, I think, is kind of leading the charge. Put on top of that COVID, and I think that you had folks that were perhaps hanging on to city life a little bit as long as they could, sort of hitting the exit button at that point and saying, look, maybe this is the time to get out. So I think the demand trends were very much in place and moving in the right direction. We had a bump from COVID where things sort of hit the brakes in late March and early April, and then now we're starting to re-accelerate again.
All right, with that backdrop, you like D.R. Horton and Masco. Why those two in particular?
Sure. Yeah, I think D.R. Horton fits very well into this millennial first-time buyer story, where they're really targeting the first-time entry-level buyer. They're going into markets and building new product at or below the existing price of a resale home in that market. That's very attractive to anybody, but very attractive to this millennial buyer that tends to like new over used. They're also the largest home builder by volume. That gives you a lot of leverage in terms of procurement of land, labor, and materials. And finally, the company is transitioning to an asset-light portfolio, which should really reduce risk and enhance returns. So that's the D.R. Horton story. In terms of Masco, the company has done a very nice job of pruning their portfolio over the past year or two, and now are left with two very high-margin, high-return businesses in plumbing and what they call decorative architecture, and that's really, think of paint. And if you think about these two businesses, plumbing and decorative architecture, they're both very much break-fix oriented. So if your faucet breaks, you're going to replace it. If your 4-year-old draws on the wall with a Sharpie, you're going to paint over that. They both have very good brand power. Think of Delta brand faucets and Behr paint, and smaller ticket items that won't break the bank.
Makes
the final
sense.
point I'll make. Sure. The final point I'll make on Masco is that they essentially target DIY, right? So the products that they have can be done yourself, so you don't need a contractor in the home, where folks are still a little bit reluctant.
Okay, so let me ask you a demographics question. What happens to the retirement buyer if they are going to downsize, given what's happened in the pandemic? Do you have any bets on that? Does the trend remain the same, or does it somehow shift because of how preferences might shift?
It's a very good question, John, and I think that it's actually part of the chain that is often overlooked. I spoke about millennials to start off. It's very important to talk about that sort of baby boomer and where they're going to go. Our view is that you're going to see kind of downsizing into first-time entry-level homes, actually competing with the millennial generation in many regards, but being closer to grandchildren and things of that nature. So I think you'll see another tail to single-family housing from older folks that are moving into closer to family.